Can you hear me now? Okay, let me try this. It says I've got sound. And yes, I have sound. Yes. Okay. Well, I have had... Ooh, I've got excellent connection. I have never had that before. Ever. Yeah, turns out when I set this thing up, it turned the Yeti mic off. Yeah. Shouldn't be a delay. This is like fast internet. I will be munching a little bit because dinner took a little bit longer than usual, so guys got to eat. Wow, it's been 8 months since my last stream. Many things have happened. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it WotC related. So where to start? Dungeon Master's Guide is halfway done. This is going to be a kind of fundraiser video because Rubus needs money. And let me see. And he's not cheap. There's going to be a story, isn't there? Actually, yes, there is a story about how I got internet. We got hit by 2 really nasty storms in the last month. May has not been kind to us. And I was trying to, and I was working on the 50 channel video, which there's a story behind that. There's a lot of stories behind that. All of them are actually good. So what happens is, I'm trying to upload the internet, and the video was 2.5 hours long. You guys all watched it. And so what happens is I'm trying to upload it. It's not uploading. It's going to take 10 hours to upload on DSL. I was like, well, my phone's faster than that, so I uploaded it on my phone. It took 22 minutes. And then we decided, so I went down to the cable place and said, hey, do you guys have like wireless internet we can use? And they said, well, yes, just now, like last week. It's like, well, let me give that a shot. So we got that, we turned it on, and we uploaded the first video. And it took 40 seconds to upload. That normally takes an hour. So, yeah, that was the internet. So the reason why I've called everybody here together is, well, I've just finished the 160th page of the DMG. So it's half done. And it's going to require a lot of art. Nothing you can do about that. If you want decent art, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to get somebody who can actually draw something exciting. I mean, you've seen the latest TSR art, and it's not TSR, WotC. And it's something. It's there. Yeah, they've made a few decisions that I wouldn't have made about what to showcase. The cover of the new DMG looks like it was designed entirely by committee. I tried to point that out, and people gave me grief on that. Yeah. No, you've got some Mystara characters on the new cover. Let me actually see if I can find that. Because I made a meme out of it, because that's what I do. I've been making lots of memes. No, it's got, who is that? Strongheart and Mercy On and a bunch of the other SJG or LKG toy lines. And they're fighting a dragon with a gold dragon behind them, but the problem is it doesn't look very threatening, which has always been a complaint with Wizards of the Coast. And how do you get your player's handbook, Dr. Death 43? That's easy. Go to rpgmp3.com. Just look up Mystara Player's Guide. It should be the very first thing. You'll need to download the book. You You'll download the POD, then you download the cover, and you download the spine. You take those to Lulu, you follow their instructions, and they will print you a book. It costs between 40 and 50, depending on what options you pick. And then, that's how you get it. And we have downloaded the spine 45,000 times, which the only reason why you would download the spine is to print the book. So there's 45,000 copies of the Mystara Player's Guide. Hugh White Cave Beast. I'm making a Dungeon Master's Guide. It is primarily Mystara, but it's got enough that you will be able to flip it over. You'll be able to steal what you want for most settings. It's got a lot of plot elements and a lot of story hooks. Let me see how my RPG is doing. We just tried G.I. Joe again. Somebody managed. Oh, thank you, Ravenlore. Oh, don't worry, guys. We will be talking about the project. Let me see. We don't. Okay, so yeah, so the DMG. So we tried to do G.I. Joe, and of course the guys I have are all veterans, so they make the weirdest G.I. Joe characters. And we had one guy make Air Force Admin Specialist, who broke the game because imagine if your only job was, or your only major skill was getting around bureaucracy in the military. Yes, so last time I played Cyberpunk 2020 was a few months ago. Let me see if I can find a link to the website. Love me some pork chops. There you go. Be sure to download the one in English. There is an Italian version. Legally, I'm not allowed to make legally, I'm not allowed to make any money off of it because it's fan creation license. So I have a PayPal.
You accept donations?
Yes, I accept donations. I accept a lot of donations. Filed in triplicate? No, he had the form filled out correctly in pen. No misspellings. He had the 2 extensions. He had the exemption, and he had the form that provided him the exception to the one complaint, all filled out and turned in advance. Yeah, turns out the Italia Mystara crowd asked me if they could fix my book because there was one problem with it. And so I handed them the form. And I was like, okay, well, what you're going to do is they hand it back, and they've translated the entire book into Italian and said, now it's perfect. Let me see, going down the list. What makes a weird G.I. Joe character? Or G.I. Joe character? Usually when they're focused on specialties that don't have any point, like the trench warfare specialist or the E4 mafia specialist, the ones that the military will not admit actually exist. Let me see. What makes a good player's book, GM's book? Focusing on the setting that it's around, building things around the setting. My player's guide had 32 characters, most of which were specific to that. Yeah, Keith Baker. I'm not an Eberron player, but I have mad respect for that man. And yeah, he would not let them change anything about his Eberron. He wouldn't let them modernize it, or I mean, it's not that old of a setting, but he wouldn't let them change the things that they've kind of messed with the other settings. Let me see. We found out in almost every campaign, somebody is playing the former stripper that the admiral's favorite strip joint. In our case, it was Memphis Belle, the morale specialist. We had one guy make a G.I. Joe Gurkha who had the forgot to take English, but he understood military sign language no problem.
Don't forget your Irish flamethrower special.
Oh yeah, they thought they were getting a payroll specialist from the Irish Army, and it turns out they misunderstood IRA. It's not just keeping Dritz out of the woodwork. It's there's a lot more to it. It's like talk about what's special. Talk about the weather in each nation. What can you expect? Monsters. What's going to the ecology. Yeah, Smiley the Gurkha. It was like we had him fill out the stat cards on the back, and his quote was like, "We know he can talk. He talks all the time with that knife, but he doesn't talk to us." It was like we don't even know if he's a GI Joe. He just showed up and started hacking cobras, and he's been following us all this time around, following us all around this time. He just smiles and stabs people. That's his only job. Wizards has had this weird thing. It's like they don't know what to do with D&D, and it's like I thought them doing their 50th anniversary was kind of lame. It was like 6 people talking about what they like about it. It's like, and they started repeating each other. I'm like, that's not how you do things. So I asked around and said, hey, who would like to be who would like to help me with this video project? And I started. Like, what if I got 50 people? And I thought this is going to be impossible. And 72 hours later, I had all 50 people, and everybody was like jumping at it. And it wasn't just like small channels; there was huge channels that were involved in this. I sent stuff to Nerd Immersion, and he was like 2 minutes later, yeah, tell me what you need. Yes, G.I. Joe is by Renegade, and yes, the Transformers, Power Rangers, and My Little Pony games are all compatible. We have 4 cats; all of them are rescues, and 2 dogs, both rescues. And we've had 4 more. We had another cat that was a rescue, but that went to one of my cousins. And we've rescued 4 dogs, and we found homes for all of them. Wizards will never sell D&D because Hasbro never sells property. Hasbro will license it, but they will not sell IP. They never do. Hasbro till all are one. So, chewing. Yeah, they will license it. And if they license out Mystara, and if I had the money, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But they've got a weird focus on what they want to talk about. And that was one thing. The one thing that people didn't like was the art. Have you started on the Monster Manual? No, the Monster Manual would cost tens of thousands of dollars because there's 300 monsters. Even if we broke it down, if Rubus gave me his special at $40 a monster, there's 300 monsters. That's $12,000. So let me find some of this art. Just throw out some, Wizards just does not do threatening art very well. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is not a fair picture because this is not the complete image. I gotta wait for it to cycle over. You can... Oh, there it is. Yep, just block off my sweet little face. Okay, there is a red dragon in the front. That's what they're staring at. They are not looking at a blink dog off screen. Yeah. And so this is this is Mystara because you have Right there, the paladin is Strongheart, the king of Irendi, and the redhead is Mercion, the queen of Irendi, though she's now a ginger rather than a blonde. Elkhorn the dwarf is there, and he's actually mentioned in Irendi. He's got a home there. Molivar, who's been race flipped. And a fun fact about Elkhorn, that's actually a town in Wisconsin. They named it after quite a few of the old TSR guys' hometowns. So yeah, let me see. The helmeted guy. No, they actually his helmet has always had wings. Just swing around the side. They can't see you. If you swing around the side, they can't see you. I've got an image up. Yeah. No, Strongheart. Let me find a picture of Strongheart. He's always had a helmet like that, though. His helmet's always been he's always been open faced. Let me see. Let me bring up a here you are, Strongheart. Then slide this over. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. This swings over, and yeah, as you can see there, he's always had that ever since the very beginning. So I'm not worried about that. Yeah, but then they start making some weird stuff, like what was that? Where they've got Vecna and Cass having brunch. They have this weird obsession with like people having lunch for some reason. And like, so you're like, but I'm not looking for that with Rubus. We're looking for awesome art. We're looking for, danger, no threat, no thrill. Yeah. Put up a brain one. Okay. So, I think I put this one up. I think I put this one up. I think it's a little bit too big, though. So yeah, we were like talking about. Oh, that's way too large. Let me fix that, or let me bring something else up. Yeah, just because I got new internet doesn't mean I know how to use it. I got dogs running around in the background.
Come on. He's a good boy.
Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, so we got so that was like their Strixhaven art. It wasn't the one I was looking for, but it's like magical prom, and the reason why they actually put it in college rather than high school because they wanted to be like, colleges don't normally do proms like this, but you can't have a game or a setting with a romance feature in a high school because that gets kind of creepy after a while. But yeah, but then we're talking to Rubus, and the first thing we say is like, look, like we want to make it look like they're in some sort of danger. And of course, he's all over that. He likes to put things in danger. Oh, where'd it go? I got so much art for this. Oh, here we go. So we did. So we tossed that out, and this was actually to fix some art because they have some. Why isn't this showing what I want it to show? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to use this OBS. It used to work just fine, but now it's scale to window. Yeah, okay, that's great, but it's still huge. Let me see. So I got to get more art. There's no other question about it. But art's expensive. So I've got to come up with a few thousand to pay him. No money, no art. And everything's gotten a little bit more expensive, as you can imagine. Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Let me see. Does that do anything? No, that doesn't do anything. Alright, crap. Let's just... Yeah, we went out of the pig. We went to the boar orcs. Yeah. I'll have to play around with this off. Let me clear this. Alright. Well, they're Karakara. Let me see. Grab the corner square and drag it into the middle of the screen. Let's try that. Because I was playing around with this earlier and it just doesn't seem to want to work now. Okay. Let me see. No, that's still not working. Alright, I'm going to give up on this. I tried. The Karakara were originally from Drums on Fire Mountain, and they were Samoan orcs, pig-faced. They looked awful. A lot of these monsters look awful, which is one of the reasons. Racist. Yeah. Well, Rubus, I mean, we're talking about, well, we need to make these things look... Everybody complains about the art. And he's like, well, if you change the art, the problem that people have with the module goes away. That's why he went with the pig orcs. And we're doing that with everything we possibly can to like try to make the art better. And yeah, he was heavily inspired by the movie Predator, to the point of on their arm they've got tusks from some other unnamed animal that they're using, kind of like predator claws. So that's the kind of art we're looking at. We've got a lot of different art planned. Let me see if I can bring this up. Yeah, all the doggos are...
They can say hi to the doggos.
Yeah, no, the dogs ran in and got water, then ran away. Let me try to bring up the DMG as I've got. No, we didn't want to... if I can make the money, I would love to make a monster manual for Mystara.
So we'd have to make a lot of money.
Yeah, we'd have to make a ton of money. We made a bunch of money with the player's handbook, but, you know, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the price for art would be insane. Will Skooma be incorporated? We'll probably get Zonga. Everybody loves Zonga. Oh. Here, let me find a section of the book that's partially done and try to zoom in and try to flip that over. To give you an example of what is going to be required. Let me see. No, that looks awful. That looks awful. God, I suck at this. Okay. Alright, I'm trying to find... I mean, just reading down the page, for every one of these pieces has its own piece of art. You've got the characters. There's Etienne d'Amberville. We put them in the power players. Ariadne of Alphatia, Hosadius, that's the master. Corwin Monty from Darrakan. Matazumi, he's the floating skull from
Graveyard.
yeah, no, he's from the Librarian, from the Flying City.
Oh.
Who's
the guy in the graveyard?
We have the guy in the graveyard. My wife is asking. That's Jamie Honeycreeper Ahua, and he's not quite a lich. They don't know really what he is, but he's really powerful and just has
Not evil.
yeah, but he's not evil. He just his whole job is to guard the cemetery, and that's what he does. Let me see. Nope, that's not going to work. Trying to just showcase me scrolling down this one thing, but it just will not let me do it. All right, go back to school. Oh yeah, I am completely a newbie at this. This new electronic magic box terrifies me. I'll have to get more hats for that cosplay. Yeah, the Druge. So we've got 40 pieces of art for just one chapter. Okay, that's going to be $1,000. We've got more art that we have to get up for chapter 1, which I'm recycling some art that got dropped from the player's handbook, but I'm using it. Let me see. So, like, examples of art we've got for the first one. We're going to bring the Baron out with his family for the first time. Let me see. We've got one piece of art that it's the Princess Ark going broadsides with an illithid Nautilus. We do have Jamie Honeycreeper showing up, being the old scary guy that's comforting a grieving daughter. Yeah. License her likeness. I'd have to hire her. That's not going to work either.
Well, they don't have art of most of these characters either.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that we did look at, was trying to find things that don't have art. Like, there's no art for Jamie. There's no art for the Fenair, the bird people of Serene. But that's why I'm trying to get people to help. Like, if anybody has any idea on how to raise this money, let me know, because legally I can't do a Kickstarter. I can't even do a GoFundMe. I tried to do a GoFundMe for the player's handbook. I got a nicely worded but sternly worded letter from WotC Legal asking me not to do it that way. And it was that was like 3 days after I started it. I had to return all the money. And anyway, but people want good art. Yeah. And, that's, the original player's handbook art was, that's what people got it on. The original art for the Malfera was bad. And that was the one thing that Rubus decided that we were going to, that he was going to change over, because he wants to fix the art. He wants to draw stuff that challenges him.
And frankly, you want it there because it'll inspire people.
Yeah, I want to inspire things as well.
You're being quiet.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something here. I know. No, it's not going to work. Okay, so enough of that. Stop trying to do things fancy until you actually read the instructions. Yeah. Yes, this is a cavalry hat. Cavalry is the place with the cross. Cavalry is cavalry is a bunch of guys on horses charging into orcs at Minas Tirith. I was looking at making T-shirts, and I made one as an example. It was the Bargle walking through, burning people down, going, I put the Raven depraved. But I'd have to sell thousands of shirts. Hey, Michael. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Hey, guys. So, so that's the biggest problem we have with the DMG is like, I can write it. I can write out all 320 pages, but nobody's going to want it if there's no art. I can't use AI art, because that'll get me blacklisted by the other artists. And I don't want to use free art, like public domain, which I've done in the past, grabbing what I could from the Renaissance masters. Because why not? Like, when you have, Da Vinci and Rembrandt and, Michelangelo in your credits, it adds a certain gravitas to your book. But you want people to look at stuff and say, this is neat, this is amazing, and this represents the game. This represents things. And that's what I'm looking for. Like, nobody's ever. Let me see who has no art, like no real art. I mean, Matazumi's a skull. That's not a thing. The master's original art had him looking like the Ayatollah Khomeini. There's no decent art of the queen of the sea home. There's no art for Respin Actarpus, the dragon that's like the lawful good not chaotic good red dragon. All right, so they've got all of these guys that have nothing. Then we've got like factions. We got like 40 factions or 20 factions, I believe. I've got a story about Larry Elmore. Met him at a con. He signed one of my books. And somebody wanted to, and he's semi-retired, which means he's even more expensive than normal. And one guy at North Texas RPG Con wanted to get Larry Elmore to draw the cover of his book, and money was no object. But apparently money was an object, because the price he got, from what we heard unofficially, was $12,000 for cover art. Any Sabaton songs that fit Mystara? Ooh. Sabaton's pretty much World War I, II, and pretty much every other war. I'd have to look. I'll play it for the neighbors and let them pick. Yeah, it was like the Player's Handbook took 5 years. That's one thing you get. People have to remember. It was not, it was not easy. The guy came back. The guy that was like talking about how he was going to get Larry Elmore came back walking funny, and it's like, I got my art. Yeah. It's like, I don't even know what book it was for, but it's whichever book comes out with a new Larry Elmore. That's the one. Yeah. I do have some new stuff. I'm doing all the remasters, and I'm doing all the remasters. I'm going to when I finish the remasters, I'm jumping back into the Mad Musings, but because I'm just so backlogged. But it's been so crazy. I haven't been able to get anything done in May.
Well, your kid graduated.
Yes, my kid graduated. We had 2 major natural disasters. We lost power for several days. All of the clients at my job lost power for a week. Well, actually, if I was going to do the Winged Hussars and Mystara, it would be the Ducal Elven Guard, because those are the guys that kind of sound like they would have wings on the back of their armor. Yeah. No, we had like tornadoes downtown. Yeah, the graduation was fun. They put it outside in Texas in May. It was 91 degrees with about 90% humidity. It was not pleasant. Because Texas outside in May is usually not pleasant. And mosquito-y. And if anybody wants a free raccoon, you just got to come over to my porch and take him. He's there whenever you want him. So, actually, let me go get something so I can geek out for a second, because I will show you this. Yep, I shouldn't have done that, but here I am. Okay, this where am I? Here I am. The Dungeon Master Survival Kit. This is one of the worst supplements ever made for by TSR. It blows everything away on just how lame it is. Yeah, let me see if I can pull it to the back. Nope. Yeah, I need to turn off those lights. Doesn't help that there's the sun right there. Yeah, there we go. That's a beautiful image. Okay. Yeah, just got this one. I will be reviewing the cards inside in a future video that's not too long ago. Yeah. But, do an opening. Let's open it up. Let's open it up and smell it. To show you what, you know, I love new stuff. Actually, I've only got like 7... I only got like 7 books I don't have. Yep. Was in shrink since 1994. So, 1995. Yeah. Yeah. This is how you don't make a supplement. You make the campaign log. This is where you put everything in your campaign. And it's blank paper. All of it. With some really questionable art. Not questionable as in tasteless, questionable as in quality. Yeah, it's like, you guys paid the artist, right? And then, let me see. They made it from Mystara, but they lied. They made it for, they made it specifically for, Darrican, or Karamikos and Glantry. Yeah. They gave you the, a sort of mapping guide to explain how to do like maps, but it's only 16 pages. So that's you get twice that from the Champions of Mystara, and pretty much a lot of it's reprinted. Random blank paper. They did give you some nice quality maps. but it's not exactly awe-inspiring. Yes, I have real internet. Yeah. Monster Lair. Then shows on the back of that, there's the Wizard's Tower. Here's the Wizard's Tower. Isn't this great? Sample Castle. Okay. I love your style. Minimalist. Then you get the sample village. Scrolls. Lots of blank scrolls. This was $25 back in the day. Lots of blank scrolls. Lots of blank... More blank stuff. Oh no, that's not it. I'm getting to the best part. Graphing paper. More blank scrolls. They gave you the Dwarvish and Elvish alphabet. Sorry if you're a halfling. You get, how to speak the English language phonetically. I'm not making that up. They expect you to photocopy a lot of this. There's your adventure synopsis, your adventure regular. Oh, thank you, Party Time Mentats. I can already tell you that the art for this DMG is better than anything Wizards has ever produced. Yeah, Jeff, this was definitely a TSR death spiral phase. Let me see. Here's your adventure stats for the monsters. More treasures. Keep track of your player characters and your non-player characters. Minor NPC character sheet. Major NPC character sheet. This is just regular character sheets. Warrior, priest, wizard, and thief character sheets. Yeah, this is like serious amounts of money for stationery. I'm sorry, it was $13 back then. No, they've had some smashing art for in the new 5.5. They've had some smashing art, but they didn't show much of it because they wanted to focus on the cover art. You know, like they've got a picture of Elkhorn kicking down a door to kill people, and it's like, that's what I want. Give me more of that. A blank monster sheet in the style of 2nd edition. Wandering monster chart that you have to fill in yourself. Percentile encounter chart that you have to fill in yourself. Yeah. This is, you know... Oh, and then they came out with the cards. Beckme did not have the deck of many things. So they were like, the Mystara didn't have the deck of many things. Oh no. So, yeah, this is one of the darkest periods of TSR. This is one of the reasons why, I mean, they died 2 years later. So, oh, can I turn this around without breaking anything? So they gave us this. The Mystara deck of many things. And some random magic items that are mostly cursed. And you will notice this is not art you want to, like, advertise. And the funny thing is, and I will be doing this in a video, is they made a book about this. No, this is the Dungeon Master guy. This is the Dungeon Master Survival Kit. I did a video on it. This is the absolute worst product that they ever made for Mystara. Even the player's kit, which was terrible, is better than this. So they made a yes, there is an immortal of luck. His name is Raven. He was a halfling, and he accidentally became a immortal through luck. Yeah. So you have like all of these So yeah, you get their version of the deck of many things, and out of like 25 cards, 21 of them are cursed, and it's okay. So example, you pull the giant. Your strength goes to 19 for 1 year, and then it drops to 3 for the next year. I would love to go to Gen Con. I've been there once. It was very crowded, very expensive, but money is the issue. Money's always is the issue. Let me see. If you draw the gym card. Oh, no. People ask me if I'm going to various conventions all the time. Yeah, if you draw the gym card, you get a... in 24 hours, you come across a gem that has a monetary value equal to your total XP amount. So if you have 1,000,000 XP, it's worth 1,000,000 gold pieces. It's also cursed, and everyone will attack you on sight.
Yes. Remind them that we'll start going to conventions when we stop paying for college.
Yes, we will start going to conventions when we stop paying for college. Let me see. If you pull the sword card, your sword gets 1d4 plus 1s. If you don't have a sword, whatever your primary weapon is, gets 1d4 minus 1s. Why would anybody want to play this? Why would anybody ever draw a card from this? I bought it because I'm a completionist. And I like to open up old stuff and show you what it looked like on the old days. But it's awful. It is profoundly awful. And I'm glad I didn't pay full price for this. There was a store that had it sitting on the shelf since all those years ago, and I finally said, "How much do you want for me to get this off your shelf?" And I think I paid like list price for it. List price for a D&D book in shrink wrap that's been sitting there for 30, 40 years. Thank you, Chris. Can we produce supplemental materials 5e to convert gazetteers to fund the artwork, like the Wandering Monster tables but filled out? That's a very good question. Because I do have... because the problem is Mystara isn't allowed on the Dungeon Masters Guild. Or else I would have put the Player's Handbook on the Dungeon Masters Guild, as though it would have, I'd get a cut of every single book, but they take 50%. Because when I tried to do, I've snuck a few things on, I've snuck a few Mystara products on the DM's Guild, but if you ever try to put something up in the DM's Guild, they will take it down if it's not one of the approved. Now, if
Mystara is too much like the real world.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like the fact that Mystara is too much like the real world. We're one of the two problematic settings, the other one being Dark Sun, where Dark Sun has mature subjects like slavery and genocide, and players that are into those kind of things. Oh my God, are they into those kind of things? Mystara has too much real world stuff. And if you try to type on Mystara at the in-world forums, people will start arguing over what's racist and what's not. I was at Gen Con like 30 years ago. Now what I could do is chop up the book like the D&D Beyond. They get they let you actually buy classes and kits and stuff like that out of the book until recently. I think Dark Sun fans cosplay gore. I made for the Vecna changeover, I made them the most difficult. So they were the level 19 monster, and they complained that it wasn't hard enough. It was an undead psychic ancient Dracolich, and it wasn't hard enough. So what I could do is throw some stuff up on the Dungeon Masters Guild and say, like this is like stuff to that you can buy if you wanted to get it, and all proceeds will be going primarily to the funding of art. Because I've got a lot of art. Maybe throw up an art book for the of the first edition stuff, so people could use it for future books. Yeah, it gave us Planescape is fine. It gave us tieflings, but it gave us the wrong tieflings. Yeah. The problem. Okay, let me see. You could, in theory, make a version 1 with 10% of official paid for art and crowdsource the remainder. The problem is I'm not allowed to really crowdsource this. I tried crowdsourcing the art originally in the player's handbook, and they put a stop to that quick.
The problem is you're in a legal gray area.
Yes, I mean this is a legal gray area. They have control over the IP. If they made Mystara, like guild, happy on the guild, or guild friendly tomorrow, I could dump so much. Not the money the artist, and to ask for art donations directly. That's what I'm doing here now. Like I tried to do they're sticklers on that. At least they were. Yeah, the original tieflings in Planescape were touched by chaos or touched by the lower planes. There was always something wrong with them, but no two of them looked the same. They like now they're basically Hellboy. In the original, it was like they could have a strange smell. They could have their eyes could be not eyes. You could be like looking into their eyes and it's a picture of something else. They could have like cricket legs. That was one of the famous tieflings. There was one that had someone else's shadow. If you're looking at her shadow was doing something unattached to her body. It was literally somebody else's shadow, and her shadow was moving with that other person. She didn't know who the other person was. Yeah, and now tieflings are all like, well, Hellboy. Like we had previous tieflings in like some of the video games. Hair Delise, Baldur's Gate 2 had like weird colored skin and like bat ears, and was anything but an edgy boy. Yeah. Couldn't you remake some of your board games and systems and sell those through drive-thru and such? My card game Con made me a lot of money, but I would need to update it and redo a lot of the art. There's nothing wrong with the game. The problem is I used a lot of pop culture references, and those have aged out. And a lot of the stuff that I did, a lot of the board games I made were licensed, so I don't have the rights to them. Everything I did for Reaper, that's owned by Reaper. Everything I did for Red Dragon Press, I don't even think they're around anymore. At least not the Houston one. Yeah, all the stuff I did for Studio Vista Games, that's owned by Studio Vista Games. Because I don't really want them touching Mystara. I don't want them, like remaking things. They get these. Yeah, I don't want this to suck. I want this good. Like they gave us, they recycle. They're afraid to take risks. Okay, Raven Laurel backed me up on this one. Thank you, Thomas Hosea. Let me see. I can still use the same rule systems. Yes, I can still use the same rule systems, but I would have to restart everything from scratch and the ground up. And I don't think many of them would remember me. But some of the rule systems I didn't create. I just made the book. I just made the book using what was given to me, and some of them might still take offense if I tried to reprint a book or reprint a game using the rules that I made for them. Even if there's nothing to stand on, they have bigger lawyers than I do. So let me see. Ross Wolf. Yeah, there's if you go through my PayPal. If you go into the description of this stream, it gives you the PayPal. Let me see.
Well, you're just a regular schmuck.
Yeah, I'm just Spring Hill Jack. Why not release your card game as a throwback? It's not that it's a throwback. It's some of the pop culture references have an expiration date. Okay, the card NeverQuest was a lot funnier 10 years ago. 20 years ago. You know, we've got cards like Dance Dance People's Revolution. What was the other one? Sitar Hero. It's not that there's nothing wrong with the joke. There's nothing offensive with the joke, but people aren't going to get it. Plus, I need to update it because this was about going to a con 20 years ago. So things have radically changed. I don't have anything about influencers or TikTokers or anything like that. The voice actors and the various celebrities. Now we've got like celebrity gamers. It's not the I hate to use the word, but the game does need to be modernized. The jokes need to be updated. I can't tell. It's not like running. It's like running a sitcom from the '70s today. People aren't going to get most of the references. Some of the jokes are still funny. Con has Baby's First Pop-Up Necronomicon. It's got cross-country ballroom dancing. It's got steel-toed bunny slippers. Like Pedar. Yeah, Irindi has too many pop culture references. It references the old Magnum PI. It references, the original Fantasy Island. It makes a lot of different references to it's got the Love Boat in there. And nobody remembers those. Yeah, and that's the problem. Is that we can retell the jokes, but we'd have to get new art, and that's 100 pieces of art right there. Burt Breathed, he's famous for explaining what made this joke funny back in the day, and his was political, and nothing ages like milk, like politics. Politicians die. It's with a few exceptions, they usually don't. 20 years, most of the politicians are out. There's a huge turnover. Let me see. How cyberpunk are the Black Lore elves? Are they just robot arms, or are they closer to actual cyberpunk games in terms of tech? The Black Lore elves are a strange one. They have cybernetics, but they never went into any detail on what type of cybernetics they have. They have a tool that they can use as basically a magic missile wand. But they're not dystopian. That's the biggest problem with comparing them to cyberpunk, is they're happy living in their own little world. Yeah, exactly. Bloom County is hilarious, but who knows who League Iacocca is? Or what was the lady that Bill the Cat was dating all the time? The former UN secretary under Reagan. It's like nobody knows. Nobody remembers. I don't even remember her name. Jean Kirkpatrick. I remember her name now. Yeah, that was funny back in the '80s, but no. Burt Breathed. Bill the Cat was.
Yeah, Jean Kirkpatrick. She was like a Phyllis Shapley.
Yeah, under Reagan. She was the UN U.S. representative.
Yeah, but she's still a scumbag.
Well, she was dating Bill the Cat. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that was yeah. So that's the one thing is there's a lot of stuff. There's a the old game. I haven't gotten the new version of it yet, but Tales from the Floating Vagabond. That was really hilarious in 1990, but it aged badly because all the jokes were pop culture references. A worst instance of WotC takes something from one setting and shoves it into the Forgotten Realms. Draconians. They shoved in Draconians. Yeah, they put werewolves in Dragonlance, and all the people that aren't the Dragonlance people are like, I don't see what the problem is. It's just werewolves. Yep, Opus sold Tammy Faye Baker's makeup line. They stole our.
The point they're making, though, I think
Yeah.
that you're losing, Glenn. They want con.
Yes, I know they want con. They were asking me what would be involved in the remaking of it.
Well, I strongly advise that you work on that.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, they stole turtles. They stole Topi, our little. They've stolen a lot from Mystara in this edition. Turtles, the Topi, the little. Oh God, what was it? The little zombie, shrunken head zombies. And then they stole our Geonids, but they made them elemental creatures. They took a shadow elf. They got Pharaoh the shadow elf and made him Shadar Kai, because that's what it is. Yeah. Multiple moons, that's the problem with werebeasts. You think Dragonlance has it bad. Eberron has 12 moons. And, well, Modrons are planar, so they're kind of like everywhere. Though I did, on the advice of Rubus, we did keep the Modrons out of Mystara. If nothing else, it was for the image of them going against the Great Barrier and then piling up like cartoon characters slamming into a glass wall. They want to get in, but they just can't because they're annoying. It's hard to say that, you know, putting an outer planar creature into a setting is you know, like stealing, because that's what they're there for. But I mean, you have to keep it reasonable. What is it like when they put in a bunch of devils into Greyhawk, and if anybody reads Greyhawk, you know why that doesn't work. You know, like they've got, granted, they put in werewolves, they put in half orcs, they put in drow into Dragonlance, and then later retconned them back out because they're not. That was also during the TSR let's spam crap out phase. Yeah. I'll talk to Rubus about that one. I think we can get that one in. You know, the problem is, you know, it's like because the original art was going to be Corellian Lorathian, the Elven Gob, being all angry because Oberon and Titania are doing something lewd and rude in front of him, and he can't do anything to them. But we've already used Oberon way too many times, so we need more stuff like that. And like, I'm trying to find some of the art suggestions we had, because me and Rubus were discussing this at detail. He was working on some line art, but we couldn't get it done in time. Oh. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. So we're doing the one creature that he wanted to do was the Cysthic, which is the Desert Scourge, which is like a desert lizard man, obviously, Desert Scourge. But the art's terrible. It's just like, it looks like a skink with a sword. So, and then there was some art of some Persian warriors or Saudi warriors. The art wasn't exactly clear, but it's like the only good art from Journey to the Rock. And so we're going to redeem them and have them go fight. Have them fight. He's going to update the art. So
He needs to do those jacked up weird ass spiders.
yeah, the Aranea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got, you know, like, we're going to have hundreds of pieces of art, and a lot of the art, you know, like, we got the expensive stuff that I'm trying to work on now. And then, but like a lot of the bulk of the art is just going to be boring. Draw this sword, draw this axe, draw this amulet. Actually, the dinner party from Castle Amber, we have got a different dinner party, which was inspired by the Oh My God art with Cass and Vecna, where it's going to be, we're introducing the Baron's family. There, you've got Baron von Hendrix, you've got his wife, they're chatting, you've got their 3 surviving children. Frederick on one side is teasing his sister, who's giving it, who's on the other side of their parents, and they're like razzing at each other. And little Otto has got his hand up and he's stealing the sweet roll. And at the other end of the table is some guy that pissed them off and they've poisoned to death. And they're going to continue their dinner despite this guy, you know, being all rude and belligerent and quite dead. So that's going to be our dinner art, because we were looking at all these people just eating, and it's like, okay, how do we Mystara this? I know. Let's have like one of the greatest villains that the setting's ever had doing something villainous. Jeff Westcamp says hi, honey.
Who?
Jeff Westcamp.
Oh, hello.
She says hello. Let me see. What's the dumbest piece of art I've found in Mystara?
There are so many.
Here, let's go with this guy. Yeah, that one's pretty bad. Let me see. I've been trying to... John, yes, I've been trying to show art that that I've actually got done and paid for, and it was a bit of a mess. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, I know what I can do. Here, this is the cover art. I will put it in the the link in the comments. Yeah, that's the cover. We wanted to tie classic characters into the book. So this time it's this time we were like going through all the different monsters that needed to be redone, and he goes, you had me at Frankenstein's dragon. So what if people pay to be caricatures as NPCs? That might be an option, but I'd have to look at the legality of that. Let me see. Yeah, some of the TSR, the Orcs of Thar art, Jim Holloway. Jim Holloway could be silly. There's a reason why he's the face of paranoia. But a lot of his art, especially the immortal art, where it's just completely bizarre. There's one in, I think, the Immortal Storm. It was like there's like a jury of like immortals like holding up, their verdict for the three that are on trial. Like one's holding a noose, one's sharpening a sword. One of them is chambering around in his pistol. Let me see. Let me see. Have you considered doing newspaper clippings and other inserts as filler art? Yes, but it really wouldn't work in the DMG. That's the problem. Because this is, as it's written, this is all crunch with a little bit of fluff in the factions and the characters, but like it's all like adventure hooks for like the settings. I've got 16 adventure hooks per nation written as is. So it's 17 times 16. Let me see. I'm 17 times 16. Okay. Just the first portion of the first chapter is 272 adventure hooks. And then we've got adventure hooks for all of the characters, and not as many, and adventure hooks for all the different factions. I could make a book of NPCs as well, but in order to make any money off of it, I'd have to throw it up and ask for donations. Let me see. Have I reviewed Yes, I reviewed the Poor Wizard's Almanac series and Joshua's Almanac at the same time. There was no point in doing all of them one by one, because about 70 to 90% of everything in the almanacs is cut and paste from the previous one. At one point it was so bad that they didn't update the ages of the characters from one year to the next. yeah, those were bad. But it was TSR, and they wanted to do something. The maps were nice. I will give them that. They had wonderful maps. And that is, let me see, because we've got, and I've got 10 different nations that I'm working on, that we're going to be expanding out, because I'm trying to talk about other nations, but I'm trying to keep them as canon as possible. As much as I would love my African nations to be done, they're not really officially Mistaran. Like I said, the issue with putting anything on the guild where you would normally make your money, is if they get a whiff of you putting up something that isn't allowed, they will take it down. Auction off spots into a one-shot online RPG session with you as a DM. Yeah, that's the funny thing is I'm usually not known for being a DM. I'm known for being a player. I mean, the Mr. Welch list. Actually, I just added to that. Let me see.
That's actually a good idea, Glenn.
Yeah, but I have to get the equipment and the I'd have to get the equipment and the programs. Let me see. Wizbro owns all your stuff in the guild. Yes, Wizbro owns all your stuff in the guild. But if you're using, the only reason why you use the guild is to make things using their IP. So I couldn't make this, even if they did open up Mystara, I couldn't make Mystara unless they were involved somehow. That's the problem. Yeah, and they can kill your stuff if they don't like it. But it's their rules, it's their IP, it's their game. You got to play on their ball court. Let me see. Let me see. What was the latest thing I added? I added 3 the other day from an online game. Oh, here we go. 2607. Things Mr. Welch can no longer do in an RPG. 2607. When told to distract the bad guys, they didn't mean with a spontaneous magic mouth. It does a mean cover of Jesus Built My Hot Rod. The Voight Comp test does not have a separate set of questions to test if you're a lesbian. And we are not turning the plane hopping module into a game of charades because the author forgot to take the obvious language barriers into account. Thank you, Velwyn. Yeah, painting mini. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, there's a few people on the Mystara. Yeah, thank you for that. Let me see. Yeah, I try to keep. I've got a bunch. Actually, here. While we're here, let me read off what I have just on the next page of what's planned for the things. I've still got to work on the Sword Coast fighting styles, which was in Dragon 232. I do this. I've got a. I do. That's how deep I do. How the deep dives I do. You know what I mean. We've got going into the Church of Thyatis, the Birds of Mystara. There is a bunch of them. The name Spells of Mystara, mostly Monty Cook. Monty Cook did a bunch of stuff for 2nd edition Glantry, and most of it's spells because it's Glantry. The Orcs of Mystara, going to talk about Mogul Khmer, doing a biography of the Golden Khan. The Minoans, that's going to be mostly Fanon. Let me see. If a magic user casts prismatic spray into areas of magical darkness, you could also do blinded by the light. Let me see. Yes. Something douche in the running around of the night.
Like a deuce.
Yes, I know. The Minoans, the Ace there. We're going to talk about the Northern Reaches deities. The various blood feuds of Mystara. There's a lot of people that hate each other. The High Heroes, the 3 Hin immortals, the Valley of the Wolves from Night Howlers, which is the only post Wrath of the Immortals book. Let me see. No, why don't you make your own D&D world? One, I already own all the Mystara stuff, and two, you.
You're making one. Well, not
Yeah,
really.
I'm making my own world right now with Drag Rider, but we're working on the basic mechanics, and that's taking some time because you have to get it right. And playtesting takes a while. Also, there's a huge problem with there's a lot of D&D clones out right now, and if I were to release something like that, it would get lost in the shuffle almost immediately.
But we are working on it.
Yeah, we are working on one right now. Let me see. Oh, we've got the Draconic Plains, also from a Dragon magazine. The Squamish Kingdoms, and the Essence of Cinnabar, also from Dragon. And the Celestial Court of Ochalia, which will be mostly Fanon. And then, that's just the middle column. As you can see, I have another column behind that. And turning the page, I still haven't covered all of that. So, I've got another year's worth of material before I start getting desperate, at least. Let me see. Do I dread the racial video on Mystara's furries? No, because the Therians, which is actually what the name for furries are, is a huge part of Mystara, and we can't go by it. We can't get around that. Let me see. Yeah, I don't want Mystara to make new Mystara. I just want them to open it up, and I can do the rest. That's all I'm asking. 100%. Wizbro forgotten, no memory of the contents. Well, that's because they kicked Dragon magazine over to Paizo. Then they did bring it back, but it was all online. And it was you had to get a subscription because you will own nothing and be happy. It's no, I'm an analog gamer. I buy physical copies of things because you can actually buy the Dungeon Master's survival kit online. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it buying in any particular format. But what's the point? It's they sold the copy of Red Arrow Black Shield, but you're gonna have to chop up that map. They even sold the trail maps, one page at a time. So yeah, you want the physical copies. There's a lot of stuff you can do with Mystara. If I were be putting in charge, if I had complete control over it, there's a few things I would revise. I'd get the silliness out of a lot of it. I'd get the silliness out of Orcs of Thar, definitely. Make those guys terrifying. Serene, it's going to be hard to make less silly, but you do. It's not hard. Expand the stuff that needs to be expanded upon. You can take out some of the pop culture references with Irindi and just talk about the different cultures on the island, for example. Because you've got the Makai, you've got you got the Makai, you've got the Albinos, you've got the Convicts, you've got the Dwarves, you've got all the other stuff. Champions of Mystara. If your price is right, it's not going to be that hard of a sell. Now, if you've got Wrath of the Immortals, that's some money. I think my bookshelf is probably worth more than my car. It's I don't own Mystara. Yeah, Wizards owns Mystara. They will always own Mystara. Hasbro will always own Mystara. They will never let it go. It's hard to make gnomes less silly, but I managed to do that with the Supreme Symposium when they decided in the 1005 timeline when they decided to invent World War I to get their homeland back, and all of the players, instead of being horrified, were like, "Hey, you guys got any more of that mustard gas?" So yes, it was still kind of goofy, but it was also terrifying in its own right. There's like the gully dwarves. Yeah, they mysteriously left gully dwarves out of Dragonlance by accident. But then they did the Hadozi and the. It looks like the Hadozi, the flying monkeys, which you stole from Star Frontiers. No, yeah, well, these were like monkeys with flying squirrel. No, if you wanted to steal the monkeys from Wizard of Oz, that's an entirely different creature. They stole freely from.
At least they didn't steal the wheelies.
Yeah. That's what we can do. Like I'd love to add more nightmare creatures. That's where we add the wheelies. We'll add the wheelies from Return to Oz as nightmare creatures. Like I have this idea of like locusts that could form up to make humanoids or giants, and that's also nightmarish. Let me see. A year ago, the original known world back. Yeah, I have seen it. I have talked to the author. He actually didn't want to talk. He actually didn't talk about it that much. He changed the subject. He had other things, newer stuff that he wanted to talk about. Yeah, he had Patagia. Let me see. And that was the one. Yeah, that's like our sky gnomes are far more terrifying than Tinker gnomes because the sky gnome stuff works. Yes, it's a little bit crazy, but it eventually will work. Yeah. Yeah, the witch with the Hall of Heads, they stole that shamelessly for Ravenloft. And she's still just as terrifying. Especially when all the heads start screaming at you when you steal one. It's like, I'd like to talk about the Archfey. I'd love to make an Archfey book. I explain how to do Archfey, but that's the one thing is I have to write it in 5th edition. Okay, I've written stuff for Beckme. I've written stuff for Basic and all that, and Rule Cyclopedia. The Atrugan revised book is all Beckme. Every single bit of it, and it will never see the vaults. It's only in the vaults. It'll never see the guilds because it's not. They don't open it to anything but 5th edition. Yeah, that's and you want them to let you do it, but you don't want them to let them do it for you because they did horrible things with Ravenloft. They made stuff not scary. Okay, oh look, there's puppets and they're attacking, Pistol, the paralyzed plucky paladin, and with a pistol packing paladin and his plucky pal, and it's like, okay, this is like, it wasn't scary. Yeah, they Disney-fied it. Yeah, the flying monkeys from The Wiz. Yeah, the gorillas on Harleys with wings. Yeah, that's. I watched that movie when I was a little kid, and yeah. Thank you, Richard the Dungeon. Let me see. Your dream is to own a good copy of Red Arrow Black Shield. Can you provide any advice for a new YouTube channel? Yes. It depends on what kind of channel you're doing it. Let me see. 3 quick tips for that is content. YouTube loves it when you put a lot of stuff on there. They like pictures of people on your thumbnail. That draws attention to your video, but you have to have your thumbnail somewhere in the video or else they get angry. And let me see, what else is there? Motion. They like it if you use motion in your video. That's why I started putting ones in mine. And just listen to your audience and just keep at it, because you've got to catch the love and attention of the algorithm. And if you thank you, Sir Vagabond. Good night. Good night to you too, sir. Noswaitha. Mostly Noswaitha would be good evening. Okay. Yeah, you volume. you don't want to do like more than one a day, but you want to keep fresh for the algorithm and keep it topical, keep it local. Hate clicks will always get you clicks, but people will tire on that quickly. Those are the best suggestions I have to start with. Let me see. Why not write it from one of the retro clone systems? Again, I'm not a big fan of retro clones. If I'm going to write for anything, I'll make it for BECME or Cyclopedia. Let me see. The Wiz is strange. It is a very strange movie. It's got Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow and Diana Ross as Dorothy, and Richard Pryor is the Wizard. Let me see. Anybody has someone who hasn't GM Cyberpunk Red before? Any tips? Do your homework. Work on, see what the characters are, see what the characters' backgrounds are. Cyberpunk has a lot of focus on character interactions, and decide what the scale of the game is. Cyberpunk Red has a real problem with you're not going to have a lot of stuff, so don't send them up against guys with assault rifles because they're not going to have armor, stuff like that. Let me see. Yeah, the YouTube algorithm, it's a weird one. I included, and it gets angry at you for certain reasons. I've included a full minute stolen of Monty Python before. They didn't have a problem with it. I redubbed the coconut scene, and it was flagged for copyright infringement, and I appealed it. And it's supposed to take 3 days, and I haven't heard back anything. Now that I have real internet, I can start. I actually can start streaming more. The reason why I haven't been streaming for so long is the last stream I tried was about 6 months ago, and it timed out. It literally died. And now that I can actually, I think on the 6th I'm supposed to be doing Castle Mystamere with Wally and Fred and the guys. He's like they love me to play in there, but yeah, I tried. I did play with him previously on it, but I dropped like 2 or 3 times. And the problem with me playing Castle Mystamere is I've run that module so many times I have it memorized. It's like they literally had me play it the week after I ran it, and I'm like trying to play dumb and not metagame it, but I know what not to touch, what doors not to go through, what to face. Yeah, like biting my. Like, you ever tried to play a game biting your tongue all the way through? Let me see. I think you should run Night's Dark Terror as a live play using BECME, showing these. Yeah. Yeah, that'll take several months because Night's Dark Terror is not a short module, and for good reason. But yeah, that was.
You want to make those though now.
Yeah, I have to get the software for it.
And you take them through the dungeons or have somebody
Yeah,
take out.
I just have to get you have to get specific software for that. Yeah, I don't have the software to do that. I can get it, I just don't have it. See, I'd like to run, Night's Dark Terror is, of course, the greatest one ever made. That's really not, that's really not that's not even a controversial statement. It's kind of hard to, to argue against it. People have their favorites, but for quality and scale, that one's just immense. Yeah, my wife has Queen of the Demon Web Pits. When I stream a game of Keep on the Borderlands with a chat DM, let me see. Yeah, let's. I have to think of what modules would I want to stream. Like, do something obscure. Well, actually, if you wanted to do stuff, grab some of the grab some of the old dungeon articles. Let me see. There's Battling Burrows Gamers is streaming Night's Dark Terror right now. Okay, thank you, Chris. Have a good one. It's like if you want to do Night's Dark Terror, you'd have to go in for the full experience with. You'd have to set up I don't have the room for it, but you have to get like the castle or the castle, but the Siskoyan models with like 72 goblins and a bunch of it's hard to explain just how epic the Siege of Siskoyan is, especially since you're like second level. Let me see. That's why we have the internet, Ross. That way you can GM and not actually have to have people in your house. Let me see. Oh, let me see. What else did we have? What other art did we have that we were working on?
Yeah, if they came here, they'd have to fight off Death Riders.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Oh, we are going to be doing art for the Carnifex because that was a major thing. They made a big deal in one of the modules, like the Carnifex, the original Lords of Mystara, these 12-foot tall dinosaur warriors and wizards and stuff like that, and they don't give us any art at all. And the one thing that made us want to do this was finding things that needed better art. Yeah, and it's like, I want to do the Lord Celescu, the Nosferatu, the not evil Nosferatu of Karamikos. I wanted to do a video about him, but every time we run him, it's always turns into a comedy. Because it's like the whole thing is the party's always trying to prove that he's a vampire. And he's not. He's a Nosferatu. They have slightly different rules, and one of the rules is as the older they get, the less weaknesses they have. So, they meet him and he's like sunbathing, even though the fact that there's no sun, because it's, Karamikos and it's always cloudy. And it's like, they walk up and he's got he's sunning himself and.
Oh, he's a bunny ears lawyer.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you,
Or a cloud cuckoo leather.
yeah, and it's like, he's like, well, if you're not a vampire, why are you so pale? Because I live in Karamikos. We get like 3 days of sun a year. You're always dressed in a tuxedo because I always have to go to these formal occasions, and I have to go to all these council meetings and things like that, and it's always formal. I never get, like casual Friday. And that's the thing is, Karamikos is more Serbia. They have Moldavia, and that's the classic Transylvania, but that's over in Glantry. And he's actually an evil vampire. It's like, you don't like garlic. No, I love garlic. Garlic doesn't love me. If I eat this, I will fumigate the castle. And you have like his little assistant going, no, don't give him garlic. Don't give him garlic.
How about pickle carrot?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the one thing is like some of my most popular videos is me fixing the 5e modules. And you guys could just like pay me. I do need to update it, but
Wizards of the Coast just needs to hire you.
yeah, Wizards of the Coast just needs to hire me. I'll work remotely from here. But I think a lot of the problems is everything's done by committee. It's like what are people going to love, and they don't actually read stuff. And, it's like, imagine if they'd gotten, like, Dragonlance Saga to write the Dragonlance module for Vecna. Where, like, I tossed out what are we going to do for Ravenloft? We're going back to Death House. And look, and there's Strahd. Oh, it's like, you've done Strahd. And that was actually, and when I was doing the video, I didn't use it, but I was planning on it, was the classic How to Defend Yourself Against Fruit. And it's like, what if we've, just to have every time I mention what they're going to be doing and how many times they've already done it. And it was just, what do we do? What do we do for, You know, like, what are we doing? And it's like, well, now, what are we going to do for Ravenloft? We're going back to Death House. And has everybody go, we've done Death House! Yeah, I lived in Austin briefly, back in 2002. Yeah, that didn't end well. Oh, that did not end well at all. There's a reason why I don't live in Austin. One, because it was expensive, and two, because my girlfriend at the time was 100% bona fide evil.
Plus, we're Houstonians.
Yes, and we're Houstonians, and I like the heat, and I like the open spaces, something Austin doesn't have. Yeah, Straw does not. It wasn't Death House its own domain of dread, which means he wouldn't even be able to go in there. So we're like, how do we change this? How do we fix this? And it's like, so I go to Hour of the Rave, and it's like, we will do Chlor. It's like, what? It's like, it is the prison plane of. I can't do a Brazilian accent. I can try to copy Gabriel, but all I can do is like say use it.
We love Gabriel.
I know we love Gabriel, but I just can't. I can't do a Brazilian accent.
No, that's really hard.
Yes.
He's so charming.
Yes. And yeah, it is Dead by. I thought Dead by Daylight was the one where you had to watch out for the Wendigo, but I haven't played either of those games.
Hey.
Hmm.
See you dead guy on the
Yeah.
road. Frozen solid.
Yeah.
Don't eat it.
Yeah, my wife's channeling the comedy sketch, the Wendigo Awareness Week, with like with the ranger going. It's like, I know what you're saying, but if you come across a man frozen to death on the side of the road, please do not eat him. That's how you get Wendigo. Yeah. So Gabe comes up with the idea of, it's like, okay, Chlor is like the world, or is the domain where they send all the other domains to die. And it's basically a bunch of rocks with the domains on them circling a black hole, and they get sucked in. And then you find yourself in Vecna's old domain. It's about to be sucked into a black hole, and you have to get the Rod of the Seven Parts before it goes, and you have 2 hours. It is timed. And when the domain above you gets sucked in, you have 1 hour left. Okay. Until dawn. Okay, yeah, I knew it was one of those dawn games. We can put it in, the Wendigo in the dark future until dawn of war. Yes, the clockmaker of Chlor. He didn't actually appear in it because it is a time zone and we don't want them talking to people other than just running. And they get into Vecna's old castle, and there's like just impossible amounts of undead for them to fight. And that's when Cash shows up. Okay. Oh, Dead by Daylight. That was they did that with that wasn't that originally the Friday the 13th game until everybody sued everybody. Yeah. Dawn of War, best 40k game ever. I will fight you on that. I liked Final Liberation better, but that was because of Commissar Holt. Commissar Holt! Yeah. But yeah, the 40k games are all over the place. I wanted to like Necromunda. Oh my god, I wanted to like Necromunda so much. Yeah, so that's the plan for Mystara. I will keep writing. I will throw money at Rubus, and he will give me art. Yeah, Final Liberation is incomplete. That was the problem with Final Liberation. Yeah, Cavitus is being destroyed. So they have to, and the rod, of course, is in his castle, and it's about to be destroyed and sucked into a black hole where the rod will be scattered through time. And we just made so many changes. That's a video I need to do if you guys want to see it. It's like the game design choices that Vecna taught us. Like, don't Scooby-Doo the villain if you haven't introduced them to the villain beforehand. It's like, haha, I rip off the mask and I'm Cass. Who? Cass, the vampire. Not ringing a bell. Yeah, it's like the sword of Cass. I am Cass the vampire from. were Forgotten Realms characters. I was Greyhawk, and Raven, and the Ravenloft for a while. Okay, we're not from either of those locations. We have no idea who you are. Yeah, and it's like that's you might like I said it's like he could have been anybody. It's like rip it off. It's like haha, I'm this guy you've never heard of before. Why do that? They made changes to characters that had no point. It was like yeah, the Silver Hand. Yeah, the werewolves in Kryn. Silver Hand got a wife instead of having one of her husbands. And they could have introduced all of her sons because she's got like 12 of them. I looked up Silverhand, and it's just like reading her background. Like in 5th edition, she's mentioned once in one line. She's got an entire chapter in like a 2nd edition book when they did the Chosen of Mystra, and that was come on, use that. Oh my God, use that. Let me see. You want to run back me by my 5e players flinches the mention of no death saves. Oh, you get a lot of death saves. It's your first saving throw. Death and, you save versus death and poison and death ray. You got a lot of death saves in back me. Yeah. It's like if you're going to sell nostalgia, you need to keep it to the nostalgia. If you're going to
Update it.
Yeah, if you're going to update it, you're going to have to explain it to the people that you're updating it for before you say, "Hey, this is back." Johnny Silverhead, I think that was one of her sons. Yeah, Johnny. He was the bard. I was always a Jack Entropy man. I was disappointed that they didn't have any Jack Entropy songs in Cyberpunk 2077. Though they did have Jack Entropy posters, which didn't explain how the most self-destructive rock star in Cyberpunk survived 50-something years.
Eat your Wheaters!
I don't think he wants to come out.
No. He refused.
Yeah. Why didn't they use Elminster? Well, I don't think they've used Elminster in 5th edition. He made some remarks in Volos, but he's never done that. Yeah, I don't miss Level Drain at all. I don't miss the paperwork that Level Drain entailed. They brought back Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and they brought back Strongheart, and it's like, okay, who remembers Strongheart? Well, we brought back Elkhorn. Nobody remembers Elkhorn. We remember Strongheart. We remember Warduke because he had the bitchin' Camaro and the bitchin' sword and the bitchin' helmet, and he was a southpaw. Yeah, Keith Richards was actually going to be my original idea for Jamie Honeycreeper, but then I saw Abe Vigoda from Joe versus the Volcano, and I had to change that. Did they mention Laurel Silverhand for the Carnival setting or for Frost Maiden? I don't believe so, but I'd have to read that, and I did not like Frost Maiden. I did not like Rime of the Frost Maiden at all. It was
boring.
It wasn't just boring. It was like a bunch of adventures welded together. And that's another problem they've had is it's a lot of stuff welded together. It's like, hey,
it was boring.
Yeah, that's why we made it better. And it's like okay, instead of like Oral, the Frost Goddess, why don't we have the Snow Queen from fairy tale lore? It's like, oh, that's amazing. What's her powers? It's like, she doesn't make it feel cold anymore. That's a terrible power. It's still very cold. You just don't feel it. So you're freezing to death and you feel just fine.
Oh.
Yeah. And we're like, that's a horrific power. That's oh my God. It's like it's an illusion of temperature.
I'm dying of hypothermia, but I feel so
Yeah.
guilty.
Yeah, and it's like they don't know. Oh, now you want to go out, you little shit. So they go out and they they have all of this stuff, but it doesn't seem they know what to do with it. Ray Winninger, who was formerly TSR, he kind of knew what to do with it, but apparently he butted heads too many times, so he had to go. I've still got I've got my signed copy of Underground from him somewhere.
Fetch the tiny dog.
Hmm.
Come on.
Ichi, come on.
Come on, tiny dog.
There he goes. Yes, there goes the Chihuahua. Yeah, her power is hypothermia. And she's a classic fairy tale monster that you have to get her to realize that she's hurting people. Yeah. If you ever get a chance to see the D&D cartoon that has Warduke in it, he is actually terrifyingly competent for a mook. It's like, granted, it's only a 26-minute cartoon, but it's like, Avengers, like, I need you to capture Dungeon Master. And it's like, okay, I'll have him by the next commercial break. Wait, what? Yep, here he is. I'll take my money. Bye. Aren't you going to stick around? Nope. I'm here to sell toys. I got a gig at the, I got a gig at the Toys R Us in Frisco. So, yeah, and it's like the Halileska, the Finnish Snow Queens. They're like, this is a terrifyingly competent monster, and nobody, like, how do you stop that? Like, they have illusionary sound, you have illusionary, visions, but what do you do with illusionary temperatures? And that was actually that was kind of scary. So, what time? Oh, geez, I've been talking for almost 2 hours. And the raccoon's back. Okay, guys.
That's when they wanted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell them about the war with the raccoon.
Yeah, we have a raccoon that likes to dump our trash every single night. I've been fighting with it for 2 weeks. I take steps, and he takes counter steps. It's like I put something on top of it, he somehow levers it off. I move the trash can away from everything, he brings a ladder. I put it behind stuff, and I don't know who the hell gave him his welding certification, but he can do that. So, hello. I've been talking for 2 hours. My voice is, my voice is almost shot, and I have got to go take care of this raccoon, guys. Thank you very much for the donations. If anybody wants to help, my PayPal link is in the description.
Also, the raccoon for your good home.
Yeah, and like I said, free raccoon to good home if anybody wants it, because I'm about to go engage in some hand-to-hand combat. That's why I have a spear. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully, I will be doing these more frequently, and I will see what I can get done.
Don't forget your gladiator helmet.
Yeah, I gotta go get my gladiator helmet. The raccoon will show up in the next DMG screen when I'm wearing him with my new coonskin cap. All right, guys, take care.